Hey Peter, I absolutely love your course. I haven't fully completed it yet, so you may answer this question. I just really wanted to put together a very quick screencast. One of the things I noticed is when I try to do this, it works. But let's say I wanted to add some other kind of, I don't know, attribute here that you can find in the documentation on GitHub. Like my first instinct was, well, I'll just like, since this is an object, sort of, because it's inside of this init method, I could have just put a comma and then just keep adding something else. But when that happens, the foresight doesn't work anymore. So that's one of the things like I didn't quite see in detail in the video, so I wasn't certain how I would continue to append something. Would I just create another variable, I don't know, t, and do another scroller in it and then add certain things in there, or could I somehow, continue to chain and put it inside of this same scroller in it um, instantiation, I guess you'd call it. That's my first question. My second question is that I want to use a library called animate.css, and they already have all the kind of animations done. I was wondering, just like looking through and actually using it, but I have it all the code on my other machine. So, anyways, it's kind of just back and forth between two things because I'm using your class to do some stuff for work because they paid for the class, so it's on my work machine. But what I wanted to ask you was within the data attributes, because I know that like once you scroll down the page, it triggers it based on the data attributes. I get that much, but I noticed that a lot of the styles that you're doing are just basically calling the properties right there inside of the data attributes. But what if I just wanted to call a class, like trigger a certain animation on an object when it gets to that part of the page? How would I just go ahead and just like call this pulse class from this library? I thought that would be interesting. How to use Skrollr to kind of trigger other animations that I could already find on the web without having to create them myself. Just for quick kind of stuff. So the two questions are: how would I continue to chain onto this force height to add more like properties here or attributes here that I can find on the GitHub page? And then my second question is, how do I trigger within the data attributes? How would I trigger a specific class on an element when it reaches a certain scroll point? I can figure out the scroll point because you have a very good explanation of that, and the documentation's pretty straightforward. What I haven't seen yet is where would I call a specific class that's already associated to specific keyframes, etc. And just call that class whenever I trigger it by reaching a certain height on the page, because I think that would be great for me to be able to incorporate other, third-party vendor libraries, and just I think that would be the last kind of thing I would really want to know about how to do in Skrollr. So, if you have a minute to do that, or if you ever added, I noticed that you added like a new session for this for the scrolling image gallery, which I think is cool. I haven't gotten to that yet, but if you would have the time to answer this, I would really appreciate it. And again, thank you for the course. It's awesome.